Looking for inspiring destinations, incredible places to stay, and the most exciting bucket list experiences to travel to next? Welcome to Destination Everywhere with hospitality and travel entrepreneurs Todd Bludworth and Andy McNeill. Having traveled to over 100 countries, Todd and Andy bring you unique perspectives with celebrities in the know, hospitality experts, and native connoisseurs to discover must-dos and inspirational destinations to plan your next trip for business or pleasure. So pack your bags and get ready as we bring you Destination Everywhere with Todd and Andy.
Known by many as the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas attracts tens of millions of visitors annually. A resort city in the Mojave Desert, countless movies, storylines, and intrigue hail from this area. From gangsters to celebrity chefs, entertainment and gambling, Las Vegas is a flashy neon paradise for those looking for 24-hour endless excitement. Joining us today is Las Vegas local and celebrity page TV personality Jaymes Vaughan. Known for a variety of roles, including being a host and singer for the Chippendales Las Vegas show and Amazing Race runner-up, Jaymes will be giving us the insider secrets to this Sin City. Together, we will look at the best Vegas has to offer a variety of travelers, including best hotels, local treats, and a few surprises. Welcome to this episode of Destination Everywhere, Las Vegas.
Welcome, everyone, to Destination Everywhere. I'm Andy McNeill, along with Todd Bludworth, and we're so excited to have you here with us today as we talk about the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas. Flashy. It's known for being flashy and exciting, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, all those great things.
I don't think that's true anymore with social media, but
yeah, but Todd,
they could try it.
I mean, we've been there countless times. How many times do you think you've been there?
I couldn't even tell you. I think back, I can remember my very first time in Vegas where I went on one of my dad's conventions, and that was just over the top. But then I can remember a couple bachelor parties. I can remember a lot of work trips. I really couldn't tell you how many times I think I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great place because you do go for business and for pleasure. If you're in business, you know, almost every major trade show makes its way there at one time or another, or it's just planted there forever.
Yep.
So, like I've said, I've been there countless times, and it's a great place for entertainment, a great place to take clients, a great place now actually to take your family because there's so many things to do. And we have a really special interview with a local celebrity, but also a national celebrity, Jaymes Vaughan, who we're going to be speaking to today. You might know him from the Amazing Race or the Billboard Awards, but Jaymes is going to be telling us and taking us through Las Vegas from a local's perspective and tell us all the great things you can do there from a local and being someone who lives there. And he's lived there for over 10 years.
Well, and Jaymes, we should also mention, was in the Chippendales Las Vegas show. So I think people might find that interesting. Yes, he was a singer and a host. So I'm really looking forward to hear his perspective on, kind of the backside of Vegas that, maybe we don't hear about. I kind of like the idea of having an entertainer kind of give their story instead of somebody who's always just visiting and then going home. I think
Absolutely.
That's great.
It's really awe-inspiring when you're flying in. If you're driving in from LA, same thing. It's like a 6-hour straight shot and it's nothing but desert. And then this huge city opens up. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to live in this kind of encapsulated world that is its own world and the exciting things you can do both from a tourist perspective as also a local's perspective. So we will be right back with our guest, TV actor and host extraordinaire, Jaymes Vaughan. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to this episode of Destination Everywhere. Our next guest, I'm really excited for you guys to meet. I've actually had the pleasure of working with him on a red carpet event. He was my mentor and my trainer for this red carpet event. We have Jaymes Vaughan. Jaymes, thank you so much for joining
Jaymes.
us.
Hey man, you don't need any training at all.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, but yeah, I saw some of the takes. But Jaymes,
You're supposed to see the final product. They edit it together to always make you look good. That's what editors do. That's why we love our editors. And I saw the final product. You looked great.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was fun. It was such a great night, and we learned all kinds of things, but we had a great time, and you were a great teacher. So thank you for that. And for those, Jaymes, I need to talk a little bit about your backstory. Some of the things that you've done, because you've been everywhere. You've been, first of all, I will end with what I think most people might find pretty interesting, but you were on The Amazing Race, which to me is a show. I've watched it many seasons. I've watched you on it. And one, it was great because you were representing the LGBT community, which was, wonderful. And I know that probably helped people out everywhere. And you came in second that season, I think.
You had to rub it in.
That was great.
I know. We were just on and keep going.
I know.
Jaymes, who were you with? Who was your partner? Was it your partner?
This will get into the whole thing of like how doing an episode on Vegas ties into me. But I actually, at the time, was hosting the Chippendales show in Vegas and singing in another show called Show in the Sky at the Rio. And when I had the opportunity to do the show, it was very much like, if you can make a gimmick work, you'll get on the show. So I was like, Magic Mike is out right now.
Yeah.
I host the Chippendale show. What if I go on with another Chippendale? So I went with another one of the guys in the Chippendale show who was also named James, because like, how could you not cast the guys named James and James that are in Chippendales while Magic Mike is in theaters to go on The Amazing Race?
Yeah. It worked. You guys were very entertaining in that. Oh
my gosh, I had a blast. I just talked to Phil last week for an interview for my show, Celebrity Page TV. And I was talking about to him how I know I brought up like, oh, I didn't win, whatever, but like, you don't remember that. Like after that moment is over, you look back, you just see the whole race experience as what it was. And that final moment is literally like just a pin drop in what the whole experience was. And I just look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to do this and this and this and this, literally all over the world.
How do you pack? How do you prepare? I always wonder, like, are they really carrying everything in their backpacks, or is their luggage sitting somewhere?
Listen, no. So, and they don't tell you before you go either, like, because you think that too as a contestant, like, am I going to get surprised and there's something?
Yeah.
So they don't tell you what to pack. They tell you what you can't pack. And then they're just like, go for it. I'm like, there's no way. They got to have stuff for you. Like,
they give you like pounds, like 30 pounds?
No, because you could do it however you want to run around the world. I wish I'd taken some less pounds though. But anyway, so I was a Cub Scout, Weeblo, Boy Scout, all that, which means I packed like one, which came in handy. It made my bag very heavy, but it came in handy because I thought to bring things like, obviously all my pants and shorts, I did the zip off thing because I was like, let's pack less. So it could be shorts or pants. I brought one pair of spare pair of shoes. Obviously not underwear and stuff like that, but like, again, like not a lot because you're going to wash stuff in between at the hotel, just in the bathtub. And so the thing that really helped me out was, I guess I'm allowed to talk about this. It's been years. I packed a whole little like Boy Scout kit that had things like scissors and tweezers and like a pocket knife that didn't have the knife bar because you can't carry that everywhere, you know? Just like gauze and like a little mini first aid kit. And like there were times where like where we were in Russia on a bridge, and James, who I was racing with, and then my really good friend now, I met amazing friends on the race that are still like family to this day. It's so cool. Trey, who was on with his wife, Lexi from Texas. At the time, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. It's so cute. They got 2 kids now and everything, all grown up. So they both in this challenge. They had to get a thing out of a lock on a bridge in Russia, and they couldn't get it out.
I remember that.
I got tweezers in my kit, and hang on, boys. And so like little moments like that where I was so glad I brought my Boy Scout kit of just the little stuff that you wouldn't think you would need, but like I thought to do it, and then like we had that stuff. So if anybody's ever going, I always say, think about the little stuff you need around the house in a pinch when you're trying to like do a little task. Sometimes that stuff helps you. We had gauze and tape for like if you got
like
injured.
Duct tape. People think of duct tape.
Yeah. So we taped our bags together with like medical tape and gauze because our bags ripped, like stuff like that. That's just like the random stuff. And then other than that, obviously you need the clothes and everything else. But literally, if we hadn't had tweezers that day, I think those boys would still be in Russia trying to get that glue out. None of us would have been able to get it. We started in Pasadena. We rappelled down the side of a bridge. From there, we went to, you literally get to the bottom of the bridge and says, find the maglev train in China. You're like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I just rappelled down a bridge in Pasadena. And so we went to Shanghai. From Shanghai, we went to Indonesia for 2 episodes. From Indonesia, we went to Bangladesh for 2 episodes. which if you've never been to a third world country, I highly, highly, highly recommend it, because you have to realize that there are people out there that are so happy with what they have, and it is so much exponentially less than so many of us entitled Americans just take for granted. You really have to go somewhere like that's one of the things I'm most thankful the race gave me was that experience. I saw people on the sides of the street in one bedroom, small, tiny, I guess you would almost call them probably like a shack, happy and thrilled that we were there, and so kind and so sweet. So highly recommend that experience. From there, we went to Russia for 2 episodes. From Russia, we went to Amsterdam. From Amsterdam, we went to
Spain,
Barcelona, and Mallorca, Spain. You better know my schedule. And then from there, we went to Loire Valley, France, which, oh my gosh, was gorgeous.
Amazing.
Like
a gorgeous
south
place.
Of France. I remember we have the coolest memory ingrained in both of our heads of winning cars for our moms while running through a castle in France. Like, what? It was something out of a fairy tale. And then we went to New York for the final episode, and daggone it, like, where was Gotham Hall? Like, if we had known that, we might have won.
Right. Well, so how much time do you get to spend in each spot? I mean, you're going and going, but do you get a minute to just look around and kind of absorb, like, okay, this is great, you know?
Our experience was so unique. And again, I'm so grateful for it, because I did leave the race with this group of friends, Nadia and Natalie, who were the twins. Natalie went on to go win Survivor because she's amazing. And then Trey and Lexi, and James and myself, we all ended up traveling together, and we got kind of ahead. It's really funny, none of us won, but we got kind of ahead of everybody else for a while. And so we had a unique experience of being able to say, hey, you want to take it a little easy right now and maybe enjoy the trek to this next thing. And then we'll get a little more aggressive as we get closer to the end of the episode. And I think they showed it all. We had a full on alliance. We really did.
And you're doing this with camera crews following you.
With camera crew, and also with the camera crew, you're like, guys, that stuff's heavy. Do you want to just us to go slow for a second? Because like you feel like a jerk running all the time with these camera people following you. They're the real stars of Amazing Race, you guys. There's a camera person and a sound person that are working their butts off, and we're just like running around like, I'm trying to win $1 million. So it was cool in that we got to have those moments. Like there's a specific moment that stands out to me in Barcelona where we all went to the beach. We said, you know what, let's just chill for a second and let's all go to the beach together. And there we were on the beach,
right on the Adriatic Ocean,
in Barcelona. And it was just so beautiful because it was just a moment of escape. But other than that, no, baby, you were racing. You are racing. If you stop to enjoy something, that's on you. Because
how many total days?
It's about a month.
It's about a month. Okay.
Yeah. Because we'd actually stopped in Indonesia, for a moment, because I was like, we thought we were getting eliminated. So I was like, let's just take this detour around these elephants. So like James could see an elephant in Indonesia. And we did that knowing that like, we're probably getting eliminated today because you don't really stop and sightsee. And then somehow by the grace of God, he was like, you're not even close to being eliminated. I was like, where is everybody? I don't understand. We did a whole scenic tour and we're still not last. But you know, meant to be. It was how it was supposed to be.
That's awesome.
So you want to know how I got to Vegas, huh?
Now, how did you get to? How did you get? Because you're from Virginia originally, and
I'm from Virginia. Yeah. And so my background before anything as far as television goes is I've always been a singer, and so I've sang in shows all over the world. I've been very fortunate to do that. But at the time, 2005, Hurricane Katrina happened in New Orleans, and I was singing in a show based out of New Orleans, and I actually was going out on a cruise ship with Carnival. And we went out while the hurricane was happening, and we're out trying to literally get around the hurricane. And they're like, can you go on stage and perform? We need to distract people. So we're on stage like, whoa. It's like showgirls like toppling towards the orchestra pit. I'm playing. I do have to give props to Carnival because when this all went down, they took excellent care of us. So I will to this day tell everybody, Carnival Cruise Lines worked for me. Like it really did.
That's awesome.
So that happened. We came back to New Orleans and they were like, there's nowhere to take the ship. Obviously, like everything was, devastation. It was heartbreaking. So they ended up taking the ship to Galveston. Well, my stuff was not in Galveston. My stuff was in New Orleans. That was home base for me. And so we got out there, and then that's when FEMA decided they were going to take some ships, and FEMA was going to have these ships and use them for housing people.
Right.
And one of those was the ship that we had been doing shows on. And so they were like, what we'll do, I never know what I'm allowed to say or not allowed to say from contracts, but Carnival was so kind. They were like, we know a lot of y'all are struggling right now, and you don't know what's going to happen next because everything's gone. They paid out our contracts so
That's
we
great.
could have a startup to go try something else. So what I did, couldn't find a car. So I was like, I'll just go to Vegas because all these dancers in my show were from Vegas. So I went to Vegas, thankfully with this startup money Carnival had given us, and was like, I'm just gonna try it out. Let me check it out. I'll go for a week, see what it's all about. Second day I was here, there was an audition. It was like the old school days, like 2005. You open up the paper with the audition. It's like Greg Thompson Productions searching for next male star on the strip. Now, I knew who Greg Thompson Productions was. I had seen some HBO specials.
Yeah.
These people were quintessential, like late 90s Vegas. I mean, just like the glitz and the glamour and the tans and like everything. And like, it's Greg's the producer. He's got this gorgeous wife, Sunny, that's just like done up to the gods. And she impersonates Marilyn Monroe all the time. And then his choreographer is named Mistine Gett. And she's this lady with these like insanely long nails that's danced all over the world. And she's like just a tall, statuesque showgirls. And like, these people are characters, but like the kind of characters you want when you move to Vegas to do a show, right?
Yeah.
But I'd seen them on HBO, so I knew how to play them. Like I knew what they wanted. So I was like, all right, I think I want to be in Vegas for a while. I want to do this. I know they're very much like all about like old school Vegas. Like, like the boys have their shirts off and the girls are in the showgirl, tiny showgirl outfits and everybody's getting weighed in every week and all this. I had been like, I was like 22, 23 and I'd been singing in a show every night. It's like all I had was time to work out. So like, I looked like all I had was time to work out. So I went to this audition. They have all the guys come up on stage. There were like 80 some guys. I waited till the very, very end to audition. And I go up and I'm like, I know how to get this job. I've seen these people. I know what they like. And it was so out of character for me because I was insanely insecure, but I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm put on my big boy pants. And I go on stage at the very end. All the guys are waiting. I'm the last one. And I was like, so you want me to take off my pants now or after I sing? And his wife was like, and he literally, I remember this day, Greg Thompson goes, I sure hope you can sing. And so then I sang like, I don't know, like not even like half a song. And he like stops me. And it was like literally like a moment like out of a movie. He's like, all right, boys, go home. I found my star. Like it was like that kind of thing, which is then funny because ended up hiring a bunch of guys from that audition. But it was like,
so now we'll go into, obviously the Chippendales. How did you get involved in Chippendales? I mean, because people think about Vegas and they do. I mean, maybe 20 years ago, I remember this one show, it was at MGM. I went with my parents and it was one of the top, Jubilee. Do you remember Jubilee?
Yeah, Jubilee. That was at, where's Jubilee? Good Lord, Bally's.
Bally's, thank you. Yeah, Bally's, it was at Bally's. And that was actually my first time in Vegas. And I'm there with my parents. And, I was just like, but it's just so like, it just meets all of your expectations, that show. The big headdresses and everybody's just having a great time. And then,
and it's gone now.
It's gone now. Yeah. Well, everything's kind of turned into like a Cirque du Soleil, but Chippendales, I mean, bachelorette parties, they're iconic in Vegas. And so how did you kind of roll into that?
Yeah.
Listen, I told them no a bunch because I just had this preconceived notion in my head that it was going to be just a bunch of guys in the mirror 24/7, like curling weights, looking at themselves. Now, mind you, there's a couple of them, but overall it wasn't that. It was, and I had to actually meet some of the guys to learn that. So at the time, I think he was the creative director, Kevin Cornell was also like in charge of the tour. And he was like, I really want you to come to Europe with me and sing in the show in Europe. They had seen me like performing at some like charity thing or whatever. And like his girlfriend at the time was like, oh my God, you gotta get that guy for Europe. I was like, the last thing I'm trying to do is tour Europe with a bunch of meatheads that are gonna be like staring at themselves in the mirror all day. Yeah. And so then he's like, come hang out with some of us, come meet some of us. And this is after like many times I had been like, no, except at the time it was the phone that was like, slide up, no, slide down. So finally I hung out with him and I was like, oh, these guys are actually really cool. And like, they're kind of in on the joke too. Like, cause there's a little bit of a joke to it. They're like, haha, we're Chippendales, Right, And they were all in on it. And I was like, fine, let me go, tour Europe for 3 months with these guys. Now in Europe, it's different. It's not like, Vegas where like a bunch of bachelorette parties come to like just see guys, strip basically. Right. It's a theater show in Europe. It's thousands of girls and a gorgeous venue. And it's put together much more like theater. Like there's production numbers, not all of them involve everyone taking their clothes off. There's a lot of dancing. I had a full band that I sang with. Like it was a really cool experience. So then I came back, did a bunch more shows throughout Vegas on the Strip. And then Chippendales kind of courted me to come do their show at the Rio, which is like their mainstay staple show. And at the time I was singing and Show in the Sky at the Rio. So it worked out perfectly because I ended up being able to do both shows at the same time. And I literally would start one show, run to the next show, do part of that show, run back down, finish the other show.
Really?
Like I was doing 2 shows at one time.
That's Vegas for you, right?
It was the most insane, coolest thing in the entire world. And then I ended up just like staying because they needed someone to do PR for them, like as far as like doing the interviews and stuff like that. And then I just got to be really good friends with a lot of the guys. And then it just kind of fit.
So you did it for a number. How many years did you do it?
I did. I think, let's see, probably full-time in Vegas, maybe like 4 years.
Yeah.
Because it just sort of turns into kind of like a fraternity. We're just going to hang out with your brothers. It's a totally different thing than all the other shows are in Vegas. Like I've done the, 50, 60, 100 person show with like guys and girls and all that. And that's my vibe and what I grew up doing. I was always in big production shows, but then to do a show where it's just like a bunch of guys and you're like backstage, just like being guys that goof around the whole time, it's a totally different experience. And I was like, oh, I really love this. And then I just woke up one day and was like, what am I doing? I get bored easy. And I was like, I gotta do something else now. Like this was fun. I did it, but like, please God, don't let me be that old Chippendale that's like, I used to be hot. Let's bring out the hot guys now. But so I was like, let me get out while I can.
It was time to move on.
Yeah, and so that's when I decided to jump back into TV, and I was very fortunate enough that in Las Vegas, because it is such a community as far as the entertainment industry goes, those television stations here were more than happy to have me come on and guest host shows. And then I ended up hosting a weekend show on the Fox affiliate here in Vegas, and that just led to more and more stuff, and eventually led me to where I am in TV now, which was what I originally set out to do. Like my degree and everything is in television news. I just knew before I graduated that I didn't even want to do it. I was like, imagine you're 22 and it's like, want to go report on this murder, or do you want to travel the world singing?
Yeah. So where'd you go to college, Jaymes?
VCU.
I was gonna say VCU.
Yeah,
cool. Awesome.
Virginia Commonwealth University.
Yes,
fantastic.
Right in Richmond, and now now you're doing Celebrity Page TV, which is the one that I was with you on. You're doing Access Hollywood, The Talk, the Lorraine show in the UK. There was I'm missing one that
Wendy Williams is probably what you're
Wendy
thinking.
Williams is what I was going to say. Yes.
Yeah. Besides being on the red carpet with Todd, what is your most memorable interview that you can remember? Something that kind of blew you away?
Oh my gosh, you guys, people always ask. They always ask like, who are your favorites? And then I always feel like when I answer it, I feel like I've left someone out, and I hate that I did that. Obviously, Dolly Parton is exactly who you want to be. Oh my gosh, it's like,
I'm so jealous.
If someone said, you're going to interview Dolly Parton and she's going to be exactly Dolly Parton and give you exactly what you want, you'd be like, nah, there's no way. Because sometimes people aren't always,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like,
amazing.
It's like your aunt your favorite aunt is giving you a hug while also giving you all the wisdom in the entire world and putting on a show. Yeah. Like she's just, amazing. Oh my gosh, she's magical. She really is magical.
She's hypnotic for me too. That's a good one. I mean, that's a pinnacle right there.
It's a bucket list for sure.
And then I always say too, like people with big hearts really impress me. Pitbull, such an impressive guy. I mean, there's just been so many times from like using his jet to help people out in Puerto Rico after a hurricane to his schools and stuff that he has. Like just to see people that say, try to get his quote correct. He said, did you hear that little speech impediment come out?
Yep.
Guys, I went to speech therapy all through elementary school for R's and W's. And then
R's and W's?
R's and W's, and then try to have a Southern accent.
Yeah.
Learn to speak without it for television.
And you choose a career in television.
Yeah. So anybody that ever like gets through a speech impediment, when I hear him mess up, I don't be like, ha ha. I'd be like, good for you, man. I didn't even know that was happening. Yeah. So back it up. So speech impediment people, I'm here for you. Mrs. Booker, who helped fix mine, thank you so much. Pitbull said, if you are in a position of, I forget what the word is, probably like affluence or power or money or whatever he said, this I do know, he said word for it. It should be an obligation to help other people. And I was like, man, Pitbull, can I give you a Dolly Parton hug? Because that right there, that makes me love you. And Pitbull's, I know I'm
one of our Miami guys. Pitbull, he does a lot here in Miami and South Florida, which is great.
Yeah, there's so many more people. I always leave someone out. I know I do. But I mean,
those are great examples. The best
thing is that usually celebs are better than you expect.
Yeah.
There are some ones, but
Can you, who are
usually
those?
they're
That's what
better than you
everybody, that's
expect.
what I want to hear. Who?
You know, I still don't know
I'm
if
just
I'm
kidding.
ever
I'm not-
supposed to say.
I,
Like,
yeah, I know.
Probably
I
better
would,
not to.
I wouldn't, yeah, we'll ask you, when we turn this off.
I mean, it's not it's not a surprise, probably the ones I would say.
Yeah.
And usually it's actually the lesser known that
Yep.
are sometimes worse.
Worse.
Than
Worst.
That's Virginia coming out. They worse. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple that, but you just kind of knew it was coming. So you're like,
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah, what
was
are you gonna do?
coming. I'm like Janet Jackson. She like, if you want to talk about somebody radiates sweetness,
Best concert ever. I swear to God.
I
Most amazing concert.
guys,
She climbed a
seen so
wall.
many
She
of-
climbed a wall.
yes, that one. Yes. I've seen
Yes.
so many of hers, but to bring this back to Vegas, the one she did in Vegas, I couldn't tell you the year, I don't remember, but everybody's a Janet Jackson fan will know this. It's when she didn't even do a costume change. She was just an all black the whole show. She didn't rely on anything fancy or wild. And listen, I'm a huge fan of like the
It
show
was
she did
just
in
amazing.
Hawaii and all that. Like to see her just go out there and kill it.
Yep.
Yeah, she's so
Consistently,
talented.
every single song, dancing, singing, putting on and it's the connection to the audience. I didn't sit down the whole concert. The whole
Yeah.
concert, I didn't sit down. So like, so when I finally met her, I think it was at Billboard Music Awards. I was just like, "You're so talented! Oh my gosh!" Because you have that thing. You
Yeah.
have the thing. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great ones, and they'll just probably keep popping in my head while we're doing this. And
Awesome.
We'll be talking about somebody else, and
Yeah,
I'll
let's
be like,
circle back to Vegas because we want to talk about your direct experiences with Vegas and what makes it so special
So, yeah.
as a destination and somewhere that you actually live. So you know all the great areas like Old Vegas, the Old Strip, and things like that. What
Down in
really stands out to you being a longtime resident there?
yeah, because this is a travel broadcast after all.
It
right?
is. It
I know,
is.
right?
We've covered the celebrity thing.
I know.
You can tell I love what I do, right? Like I love talking about it.
You love
No,
it.
and we like hearing it. So keep going.
Vegas, for me, I think the thing that's really surprising to a lot of people, first off, we always have to remind people, those of us that live in Vegas, we don't live on the strip.
Yep.
There's a whole
There's
suburb
a whole
area
there.
that feels just very normal, like
Yep.
very just suburb that could be anywhere in the world. So there's all that. And for us, the strip, obviously it was a place of employment for a very long time doing shows, but it's really cool that we have this because we literally have something people fly from all over the world to go to
Yep.
just at our disposal to go, you want to go to the strip for dinner? You want to
Yeah.
go to the strip to see a show? Like who can be like, oh, I think I want to see a Cirque du Soleil show. And 30 minutes later, they're watching a Cirque du Soleil show.
Yeah.
Right.
Or who
Just
can
walk
say,
up and do it.
I want to go eat at Giada, which by the way is my favorite restaurant here in the entire world. Yeah, and 30 minutes later, if you had a reservation, you can be down there eating at it. Like it's a really cool place for that.
It's almost like there's a whole backstage world to Vegas, and then you just come up to the front and then you experience it, and then you go back to your regular life, right?
There really is. And there's also that same thing with the roads. Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, take
Yeah.
those instead of the strip. It'll get you everywhere faster.
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff you got to know, right? But it's a really unique experience for those of us that live here because of that. And obviously, it's a little unique right now, and it will get back to its glory, but right now it's a little different. So it's hard to really give a suggestion for right now. You should go do this in Las Vegas because one thing I did kick off my bucket list. Not that an abandoned Vegas was on my bucket list, but a chance to stand in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip with zero traffic.
Oh, wow, you got
and
a
take
picture of that?
Photo?
Yeah.
I did.
Very
that
cool.
was
Very
on my
cool.
bucket list. I'm gonna show it to you guys after this is done.
Yeah,
'cause I
send it.
realize
We'll
podcast.
post it. We'll post it with the podcast.
It was really cool to just go out there and get to do like sad, obviously the circumstances that surrounded it, but a really cool experience to get to go stand there and do that. Really only a local would get to do. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was like 12 years ago when it snowed on Christmas.
Do you have a favorite?
Only
do you
really
have
a local would get to do that.
Do you have a favorite venue that you've worked in or been to that is really special there?
Yeah, people always ask my favorites. My favorite vibe as far as a casino goes is Cosmopolitan. I just like the
That's
vibe
nice,
there.
yeah.
It feels cool, but it doesn't feel like it tried too hard. It just feels cool. And my absolute favorite clothing store in the entire world is in there, Stitched.
Okay.
They do all the amazing suits and tuxes and everything you see me wearing on the carpets. It's always Stitched. Wherever the show is, I will fly to Vegas to get them to style me so I can wear it because they have the best stuff.
That's a great recommendation.
and the most bomb stylist ever. If you ever go in there, ask for, if you want something a little loudy and flat, loudy? Good Lord, the Virginia's real coming out today. If you want some loudy and flashy, if you want something louder and flashier, ask for Ricky.
Okay.
If you want something that's going to be a little more push the boundaries, edgy, go to Jessica. She'll put together stuff that you're like, wow, I didn't know that would go together like that. And
that's awesome.
And
I've sent. It's at Cosmopolitan. It's called.
Todd's actually taking notes, Jaymes. So you're about.
I've sent so many people there.
You're costing us a lot of money. I know already. All of a sudden, we're going to be in stitched outfits.
You guys go look at all my red carpet photos. The stuff they have.
Yeah,
is
you do always look great. You do.
Yeah, and they have different levels of stuff too, like different tiers of things. So that you can go really pricey or you can go less pricey. So there's kind of something for everybody there. Yeah. I'm obsessed with that place. I love it. So I love Cosmo for that, and then the fact that they have just all the cool little restaurants in there. The hidden pizza. There's a little hidden pizza place. Okay. It's not so hidden anymore because there's always a line coming out of it now.
Yeah.
But the hidden pizza place, all you gotta do is say, hey, where's hidden pizza? It tastes like New York pizza. I love it. New Yorkers don't come at me. If it doesn't taste like New York pizza to you, it does to me.
Your version of New York pizza.
Yeah. And then you ask about I'm trying to think of really my absolute favorite venues. I mean, the venue for Cirque du Soleil at Bellagio is just amazing. And there's a similar one. Well, there was Le Rêve at Wynn. Yeah. That was in the round, and that was very cool too. But is just so massive and magical. You really feel like you're in a different world.
And that's really what's special about Vegas is being able to, kind of go into another world, and they do it so well. They do it better than anybody else, and they do it consistently at all the different there. Now you are paying money constantly. You just don't know it, right? When you're in Vegas,
even to park. Yeah.
Probably a lot to park. As a local, you have to probably deal with that a lot.
So and some of the casinos are backing off on that right now to bring people in, so that's good because it wasn't always that way. When they started charging to park, I was like, I don't know if I want to pay that money to go down and get that meal when I could just go to Chipotle instead. But then you end up still going because it's the Vegas Strip.
Yeah. So what's a bucket list item? Obviously there's, I always kind of thought Vegas, okay, there's the Vegas that everybody sees, but I kind of picture this, and this may or may not be true, is there's the Vegas on the other side of the curtain that nobody gets to see. That is, the high rollers, the huge suites and the access to those bucket list items that nobody else really gets. Have you heard of, or do you recommend anything that, if you could do this, make it happen?
Well, yeah, I will tell you this because you can go look at it on Instagram. So my friend Kelly and my friend Kelly Osborne and my friend Daniel, they're like best friends, and they keep coming to Vegas for stuff. And Westgate has been hooking them up with my favorite suite here because it has so much history. And it's so funny, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have told you this was my favorite suite, but now as I'm getting older, I'm really into stuff that's got history and some story behind it. So it's the old Elvis suite at Westgate. When it used to be Hilton when he performed there. And they've been staying there a couple times for stuff. And so it's on their Instagrams. Go look at it. It's really cool. I haven't gone yet because they're part of a whole COVID testing circle of where they're part of the same group that only interacts, and which has been wild about this. I haven't gotten to see some of my best friends because we didn't happen to fall in that cluster. And we all work in the entertainment industry where we need to be careful because we're around a lot of different people all the time, even from far away. We need to be really careful. So, but they've been going to that. It's the coolest thing. It looks so old school. It's got such a sort of Liberace, obviously Elvis vibe. It's just really, really cool.
But they redid it. They redid it.
I don't know if it's redone or just kept up really well because it looks pretty classic. It's a really cool thing. I really, really like that. And then the thing I always tell people when we're like, what? Get off the Strip and go to our Chinatown here. It's literally right up Spring Mountain. It's a mile from the Strip.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's some amazing food in there. There's a place called, again, we got to check the rating on this because it's called Fucking Long. And it's a pho place. And listen, I'm telling you, look at the sign.
It's PH, right?
The most amazing pho you've ever had in your life. It's so good. People come from all over to have it. And it's literally right off the Strip. But people wouldn't think, let me just jump in a car and go 5 minutes this way. But there are some amazing, amazing restaurants.
And how about the old Strip, Jaymes? How about the old Strip, that area? They've totally redone it, and Zappos is down there now. Lots of really cool. Last time I was there was that big truck food area that you can go and have all different types of amazing food. What's your experience down there?
You have to do it. You have to see it because it is truly vintage Vegas at its best. You got to go see the cowboy and the girl kicking her leg and all that. You got to see it. But also they've done so much to build it up down there and add things like Container Park, which you're talking about, I think, where you got the food trucks and stuff. And there's a lot of really great restaurants and things down there too. And please, please, please do not judge Vegas off the random tweet somebody puts up, every once in a while, like a fight happened here or a fight happened there. Like you can find any Vegas, microcosm of something going on anywhere, it's not that. It's an experience. And half the fun of going down to Fremont Street, the old Vegas, is a lot of the characters and the people that's their Vegas. And that's where they go because they've been going there for years. And it's just sort of like a step back in time that now they've been updating and making better. So people that don't want to just go back in time also have some cool, flashy stuff to go to.
Now, what about outside of, the city limits? Vegas is in the desert and there's the Grand Canyon, the helicopter tours. Have you experienced a lot of that right outside the city?
So, it's crazy. I lived here forever and never went. And then for my birthday 2 years ago, my boyfriend, Jonathan, took me on a helicopter tour through the Grand Canyon. I'd never done it. And he took me, and it was literally right before I had to go do the carpet for the ACMs. So I literally got back from the helicopter ride. I jumped out, went through hair and makeup, threw on my outfit from Stitch and jumped on the carpet. But I'm not a person that's throw me in this helicopter. It feels kind of like I'm just dangling from a ceiling fan. Yeah. So I was a little freaked out about it. But once I got in there, I was like, this is freaking cool. I can't imagine seeing the Grand Canyon any other way. Obviously, it'd be cool to rappel down and all that, but to just be down in there looking at everything and being so up close to stuff and being able to get in and out very quickly. Yeah. It was just a really, really, really cool experience. So I recommend that. But if you want a more affordable alternative, Red Rock. So there's a whole Red Rock National Park that 30 minutes from the Strip and you are there. And there's so many different trails and places to hike. It's
that's a great
gorgeous
suggestion.
We go there all the time, just to go and get some air in the morning and just have a meditation. It's oh my gosh, you guys, it's stunning. There's I think it's a 13-mile drive through it. Oh wow! Anywhere on that drive through,
what a great suggestion.
You can jump out. But I will tell you this, all right. When you're driving there, some people try to be like, I ain't gonna pay that couple of dollars to go through there. I'm gonna park on the side of the road because I can see those mountains. Let me just go to those. Y'all, it's deceiving. If you try to jump out early, listen, if you're down for a long walk, go for it. If you're trying to save $1, go for it. But you start walking and then 2 hours later, you're like, the mountain is not any closer. What is going on? It's the wildest thing, the illusion of these mountains that look like they're so close and they're not. So if you just go into Red Rock proper, you can park and get right into these trails. Guys, it's literally like a different world. It's so beautiful.
It looks like, it almost looks like Mars. I've been. It's really, really, but it's so stark and so beautiful and so different.
Wait, you've been to Mars or Red Rock?
Yes, but what's amazing, 30 minutes before you're in this huge, gorgeous lobby. And then you come out here and you're in the middle of nowhere. It really is a great way to experience both sides of Vegas.
That's a really cool thing about Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So what about the food? I mean, obviously there's food. You could pay through the moon for food, or you could just go find a great local stop somewhere. What are some places you might recommend in terms of getting a good bite?
There's also a sushi place that I love called Oishi. That's on the west side of town, Oishi. They have a really good all-you-can-eat sushi. It's a local spot.
Nice.
So when you go, you're going to see a lot of locals.
Yeah.
That's a place I really recommend. I said a little earlier in this, Giada is my absolute favorite. There's a lemon pasta there.
Our daughter would love that.
And I'm not just saying this because Giada made me some special dishes when I interviewed her. But you guys, I'll go there every chance I get. People are like, oh, we're coming to Vegas. Do you want to get dinner? I'm like, a Giada. That's where I'll go. It's everything is just the girl knows what she's doing. She knows how to cook. But get the lemon. Is it a lemon spaghetti? It's a lemon something. It's a lemon. You'll see it. It's lemon pasta. It's a flavor I've never had. It's absolutely amazing. Get one to eat there. Get one to go. Put it in your pocketbook, your briefcase, whatever. You'll want it later. Trust me. It's so good. That's my spot. You got to go to on the Strip for sure.
And then shows. What's a must-see show? Obviously, they have the acts that kind of come in. They're home based there for a significant period of time. What's been your favorite show that you've seen?
Well, so I could break it down for you by show. So if you want to just go see a show that you're like, oh my gosh, like that was wild. What did I see? But it was so cool. And I laughed and was entertained and was shocked and surprised and impressed by talent the whole time. You got to go see Absinthe. That is hands down. It's out front of Caesars in a tent. And it's just the talent is insane. The hosts are insane. Like everyone's just, it's a variety show, but it's done. It's very tongue in cheek. It's very the same rating as a fucking Long would be. Yeah. So you got to know that going in, but oh my gosh, it's amazing. You won't be disappointed that you saw it.
What is it, like a Moulin Rouge kind of thing? Is it like a circus Moulin Rouge? I
mean, if the circus took absinthe or drank absinthe the drink.
Yeah, a little crazy, right?
A trippy experience.
Yeah, it's just and nothing's off limits. Like it's just really just cool, and the acts are changing every once in a while too. So it's a really cool way to do a variety show. Okay. If you want that oh my god show, like that's definitely as I mentioned earlier, that's a show that's just gonna make you go wow. If you want the classic Vegas girl topless show experience, you got to go see Fantasy at Luxor. The lead singer in it, Lorena, we both sang on Carnival Cruise Lines way back in the day, and she's the singer there. And oh my gosh, her voice, she's amazing. And she's a very great entertainer, but it's just that classic Vegas topless girl show. It really is. Like you just go see and you're like, this is what I wanted to see. And this genre, this is exactly what I wanted it to be. It's that kind of thing. Unfortunately, there's not really like that big glitzy Vegas show anymore. There's Vegas.
Yeah, well, that
show.
One, yeah. But that's a great one.
It's a smaller scale. Vegas, the show is a smaller scale. There's very, very talented people in there. A lot of my friends dance and sing in that. Right. But there's not the big giant spectacle like Jubilee was. There really isn't. And then as far as the male review shows go, obviously I gotta go see Chippendales, see my friends, but every single one of those is different. Like Chippendales is what it is, and it's classic and it's a mainstay, and you gotta go just because you gotta see it because it's Chippendales, get a picture with the guys. But then Thunder from Down Under is so Australian, it really is, that you gotta go because it's a different experience. And then Magic Mike, which I believe is coming back. I don't know if they've disclosed the location. I think they've talked about like Sahara or possibly else. I could be getting this so wrong. But if you ever want to know the real facts on stuff, there's a podcast called, what is the Vegas Revealed. Vegas Revealed has tons of stuff. Dana Rosselli and Sean McAllister, two friends of mine that both used to work in television news here, very connected in Vegas. They always have different guests on every week, and they can tell you exactly what's going on. Like Dana's my go-to. If I need to know anything about Vegas, I text her, and I know she always has the answer. Always. Fantastic. And like right back like that with it. So check that out for sure. But they would probably know too. But anyway, Magic Mike is supposedly coming back. Magic Mike is a totally different experience from Chippendales or Thunder or any of the other male review shows, because these boys are just dancing. Like it's yes, they're good looking and look great with their clothes off, but like it's the dancing is like, it's like, so you think you can dance plus. I mean, it's a totally different experience. So you got to kind of see them all because they're all different experiences, right? The same way with the Cirque shows though as well. Like I'd say, oh my God, so amazing. Great, right? But like, you don't leave a Cirque show and go, oh, I wish I hadn't seen that. You always go, wow, that was so different than the other one. That's crazy, because you're always transported to a different world.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
Wow. I mean, honestly, Jaymes, we could sit here and talk to you forever, but unfortunately, we're running out of time. But we'd love to have you back sometime if you're into it. You've got a lot of experience with different cities, but it's Vegas is amazing. We look forward to seeing some great things coming from you.
Yeah, next time you come, I'll show you around.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
If people want to follow you, where can they go? Where can they check you out and see what you're up to?
You can just follow all my social media. It's at Jaymes V, at symbol, and then JAYMESV. So I'm mostly active on Instagram. I don't really play on Facebook anymore because it's just a lot of, the older people in my life complaining, younger people in my life complaining too. Every time I turn on, somebody's on a new conspiracy theory, and I'm like, I just want to see photos of your cats.
That's all you want. And what you ate yesterday.
Yeah, like I remember I used to be like, man, this person's posting a photo of their food again. Now I'm like, please post a photo of your food. Like, please. Like, I don't know anybody who's ever had their opinion changed from a Facebook post. So just recommend where I should be eating.
Exactly.
But Instagram I'm really active on.
Awesome. So Jaymes, we asked each one of our guests our rapid fire questions to wrap everything up. And there are 5 questions because you've traveled the world, Vegas, you've seen all these great places all around the world, especially with being on The Amazing Race. So these are the 5 questions so our followers can learn from you what the best things to do when you travel. So you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. So have you ever completed anything on you've already talked about this, but have you ever completed anything on your bucket list? If so, what was it? And I know you've got more than one. So give us a good one.
Y'all, there was a thing on my bucket list that was going to be there, and that's where it was going to live, and that where it was going to die, and I didn't care. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not bungee jumping. There's no reason for me to fall out of anything. Like, why?
Right.
Why? Like,
I feel the same way about that. No parachuting.
And then Amazing Race happened.
Oh.
And the final episode, they were like, listen, you're going to need to escape from this straitjacket upside down, hanging from a crane.
I remember that.
It was like 13, 18 floors up. And you need to do this and then just bungee. And I'm like, okay. But in the moment, your adrenaline is going like crazy. And I couldn't have even told you if I had removed my bungee cord thing to drop or my straitjacket or what. Like, I was just like, things were coming off. I was like, it's CBS, there's no way they're gonna let me die. So I'm just pulling it all off, it'll be fine. And then boom, you go. And it's that whole moment of like, is this it? Is this where I go? Is this how I die? Oh my gosh. And like everything flashes and then the bounce happens and you go,
yeah,
whoa, oh my gosh. And then you have this moment of, I did something that was on my bucket list that I thought I'd never do.
Yeah.
Now get me down because I'm trying to win a race, but this is really cool. So thank you to Amazing Race for making me do that, because I would have never, ever, ever done. I never will again either. Let's just $4 But thank you for making me do that.
That's awesome.
That's right.
All right. Next question. If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would it be?
Oh my gosh, you guys, the beaches in Thailand. Like I've been to Thailand a bunch. I love Thailand. Chiang Mai is so gorgeous. It's northern Thailand and totally off topic, but it's just literally like so many untouched, beautiful places to see. And the people are just always so sweet. But the beaches in Thailand, y'all, if I could just live on a beach in a little hut and just like hang out, like do a little show on Zoom like that, like, it would be great. Like I would
with
totally
the same backdrop, with the same just take that.
Yeah, just pack this backdrop up with me,
you...
take it to Thailand. Nobody will know.
All right. Next question. If you could travel with someone infamous or famous, who would it be?
I know, and you guys prepped me with this, and I really thought about it because I'm like, who would it be? And I don't know if it's a specific person or if it's just an era and a place I would like to be. I'd really like to be in ancient Egypt. I'm just so fascinated by the culture and the people, and obviously just the fanfare and the pyramids and everything. It's just so cool to me. I would love to see how it was all done. I have so many questions for them. So I would, not that I want to like.
So maybe you would like to travel with King Tut.
Yeah, well, King Tut was a kid. Like, what's
he's 14.
Yeah. I mean, go
but
Cleopatra.
somewhere there. I mean, because it's tough because you look back at stuff, especially now as we get more and more educated and aware of things. I look back at people I would have maybe liked to have explored with, but like if I explored with them, I think I would have wanted to say, hey, explore but don't conquer. Explore but learn to be a part of, learn to appreciate, learn to be together, not take. That's what I would like to do, because there's a lot of people that did cool things, but I find myself looking back at history a lot of times now and being like, oh, that could have gone different. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
People could have been more human in that moment, and things might look different in the world right now. And we could all be sharing in so many amazing different cultural experiences instead of people being like, take.
So when packing for a trip, what is something you pack that might surprise our listeners?
Well, I know I just talked about like bougie clothes and going to Stitch and looking nice for red carpets, but y'all, all I pack is gym shorts and t-shirts and tank tops. Like I'll bring like a nice outfit or two if I think I'm gonna need it. But honestly, the older I get too, like I just live in gym clothes. And I used to be that person I'd be like,
nice and
why is that person wearing that? Why are they wearing that? And now I'm like, oh, I get it. It's all about comfort at this point. So honestly, at any given point in time, you open my suitcase and just a whole bunch of gym clothes are gonna fall out.
And I'm starting to wear my Jack Weldon
but not for the gym.
Like my Jack Weldon pants, like out to dinner. I'm like, I need to stop that. Those are hang out in bed pants.
Listen, it's all about from the waist up when you're at dinner.
Yeah,
that's all. It's just like a Zoom call.
Zoom meeting, exactly.
Once you get in that restaurant and you're sitting down, all they see is this. So.
Yeah. All right, and finally, since we're talking about Vegas, what is your most memorable experience in your time in Las Vegas?
Honestly, my most memorable experience in Las Vegas has to probably be the first opening night of my first show here, which was Bareback, because I never had any intention of ever coming to Vegas. I never thought I would be able to make it in Vegas doing a show. And it all happened for me as soon as I got here, which was like the wildest experience. And I remember opening night of Bareback, this big country show. There's a bunch of Big and Rich songs in it. And I look out in the audience and Big and Rich are watching the show. Like it was just like so crazy to me that I had just been wondering what I was going to do after this hurricane. I had no clue how I was going to like pick up my life. And obviously I was very fortunate in that event that like I didn't lose a home or loved ones, but I still was like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. And somehow everything in Vegas just, that rolled the dice, and it worked out for me. And in that moment of being there, like I'm on the stage, and like the music's going and the lights are going, and like the first song hits, and I just look out and I'm like, holy cow, y'all, I'm in Vegas. Like if you told 10-year-old me I was gonna be doing a show in Vegas, like I'd be like, incredible. Nah, like this is cool. And so that just, of all the shows I've opened here, there's always been a lot of really cool openings, but like that's the one because it was the first one. It just sticks out as like a holy cow, I'm doing it.
That's
great.
Fantastic.
That's great. Well,
Jaymes, thanks so much. It was great talking to you today and getting all these great ideas about Vegas. I mean, talking to a local, thank you for all those great tips. Welcome back, everyone, to Destination Everywhere. Isn't Jaymes he's just a joy to talk to and has so much knowledge about the city.
No, we could have gone on to, he's just one of those people that, you just feel like him. He's just
so much energy,
so pleasant, so easy to talk to. And he's got some amazing stories. There's Vegas, and then, what he does, for a career in terms of hosting and doing things for the music awards and all that. I just bet it just adds up. I'd like to pick his brain sometimes and find out how these people really act when the camera's not on them.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did tell us about some of his favorite places, but right now we're going to talk about some of our top bucket list hotels, activities, as well as shows that we've been to over the years, to give you guys a little bit more information around what you can do in Vegas. So let's start with hotels, and there's so many different choices, right, Todd? From the old Strip, where they've redone all these old hotels and made them really, really nice, but more affordable. Yeah. And then you have what's on the Strip, and that's pretty much what everyone knows. And
but there's the Strip, and then there's just off the Strip.
Yeah,
there are those that are like 1 or 2 blocks off the Strip that might make it a little easier to get around, because you're just coming in on the side when you want to go to the Strip. But they're all connected in some way. They have the walkways over the streets, but going from one hotel, we've done several meetings out there. I mean, a lot of meetings. And it's one of those places where if you forgot something in your room, you just kind of you're like, oh my gosh, it took me an hour to get here, and if you forget something, you got to go all the way back. But let's talk about some of those properties, because there's some really great ones.
Yeah, let's start with the Caesar's Palace, which is actually one of the first ones I ever went. It's a very established hotel, but they just went through a huge renovation and added a huge conference center as well. So it's definitely a place to go to see the grandeur, and it's got a great shopping and restaurants and a mall that's connected to it. I've always enjoyed staying at the Caesar.
Yeah, the Caesar Forum, the mall that's connected to it is great, because you walk into that, it's got some amazing shops, but then there's this big fountain structure that does a show, and it does it does the show. I think it's every hour or something like that, but it's like about, I think it's Zeus or Greek gods or whatever it is, but it's really entertaining. And then also in Caesar's though is the Nobu Hotel.
Yeah, it's a hotel within a hotel.
It's a hotel within a hotel.
And I think that's great.
And I think it's at Mandalay Bay, where the top floors of the Mandalay Bay are actually the Four Seasons, and they have a separate entrance, and then you go right up to the top if you're staying at that one. But the one I just remember when it opened up, it got so much hype, and it still does. Is the Bellagio? The Bellagio, it kind of broke the mold for a strip hotel in terms of it. It was opulent, it was elegant, the artwork, and it's still just a popular casino. But the 2 shows there are some of the best in Vegas. The free show out of the water fountains, the fountain show, and then of course the water show for Cirque du Soleil, which is amazing. So I just think that's a great property.
Yeah, one of my favorites. It's not as flashy, but the Wynn Las Vegas is like. They just spared no expense in the quality of the property, and it actually attracts some of the biggest spenders because of that, because it's just done really nice and really classy. So if you want something that's not as necessarily big, but really, really high quality, definitely look at the Wynn Las Vegas.
Well, the Wynn, and then it also has, and I think this kind of developed through the divorce of Steve Wynn, was the Encore Hotel, and they're both similar. They share some walkways. They're right next to each other, but they're both just great properties. And I think those really, those kind of set off another level for nightlife with properties. They have tons of young contemporary adult, bars and restaurants and venues. So, every time I've gone, I just see groups of people in their 20s just having a great time.
Yeah. And finally, why don't we put this on here? I stayed the last time I was in Vegas, I stayed here is the Vidara. And it's the only hotel to be both non-smoking and non-gaming. So if you're not a big casino person, and they have these really nice suites, I think every room is almost a suite. But there's no smoking, no gambling, but it's right near the convention center. But also you can obviously go to all the different casinos that are around it. So it's a great way to be in Vegas without feeling like you're in a casino. And Nobu's a little bit like that too. But I think
Nobu was like that.
The Vidara actually has a one up when it comes to the not feeling like you're in Vegas. So definitely put that on your list if you're considering going that direction.
Yeah. And you know what I've noticed? There are some properties, and I don't know, it's kind of a luck of the draw. I've gotten hotel rooms in some properties that are absolutely monstrous.
Yeah.
And then I've gotten hotel rooms in some properties, and it might have even been at the same one at another time where you're just kind of getting a regular hotel room. So, I would say if you're in Vegas, ask for an upgrade. Why
Absolutely.
not?
Absolutely.
They've got the rooms, they've got the space, but if you get one of these upgraded rooms, it is, amazing. Everything is hardwired in, the shades, the lights, you just pushing buttons and everything's going.
That's an absolute great suggestion. Another suggestion is to make sure you get on the rewards program before you show up, and then present your card and ask for the upgrade ahead of time. That's a great suggestion and something that can enhance your experience when you're in Vegas, because they want you there. They want you near the casino. They want you spending money in the casino.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the ways where they make their money, and they can provide the upgrades because of that. So let's talk a little bit about best shows. So, and great shows there's so many of them, and there's everything from, I remember we took a client to a small hypnosis show that was classically funny and just so kitschy. But it was hilarious, and we all had a great time. To the largest, cirque shows there that can blow the mind, to all the great entertainers have been there. I've seen Dolly Parton, I've seen Cher, I've seen Smash Mouth. I've seen so many different types of entertainment there. It really runs the gamut.
Well, and obviously Cirque du Soleil, they're based out of Montreal. All of the acrobats, they've got numerous shows. They've got Zumanity. I don't even know if that one's still running. But the first show I ever saw for Cirque was Mystere. Yeah. And I just remember just being so mesmerized. And I don't remember how many shows there were at the time, but absolutely any Cirque show is phenomenal. Go see them if you haven't, but most people I think have. La Rive is another one. But also there are some, and we didn't even mention yet the show, the Chippendale show. And then there's also the Thunder Down Under, which is the Australian version, the Male Review, kind of the same thing.
And we talked a little bit with Jaymes about the kind of the classic shows with the big feathers, and you can definitely get those on the old strip, and they're done really, really nice. And, if you want to feel a little nostalgic, try one of those. Another one is the Purple Rain tribute show for Prince at the Tropicana. Really, really done well. And, very entertaining, especially if you're from the 80s like me.
Yeah. And there's a Michael Jackson tribute show as well. The Beatles Love, and most of these I'm saying, and they're all still Cirque shows, but if we want to go see something that's not Cirque, Jaymes actually spoke about that one, Absinthe, and I have not been to that, but I'm definitely going to go check it out next time I'm in Vegas. It sounds really cool. Just like a completely immersive experience. And, you feel like you're kind of in the middle of it from what it sounds like.
Yeah. So the hotels are an experience with of themselves. The shows are an experience with of themselves. Now let's just talk about just a few activities to wrap this up that you can do in Vegas. Again, there's so much to do. We talked with Jaymes actually about going outside the city to see the Hoover Dam or the Grand Canyon or Red Rock. But there's also inside the city, there's so many activities. We took clients for a sales incentive program to Top Golf. They have a huge brand new Top Golf center there that is really, really one of the nicest ones in the country. Todd, what are some of the other activities that you've done there that you've really enjoyed?
Well, there's the High Roller, which is that huge Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
And, you get drinks on it. It's a lot of fun. I think it's an hour all the way around. But the views are incredible. It goes quite high. You've got the old strip, obviously, and if you go to Vegas,
you gotta do that.
And you don't just go pay tribute to the old strip and kind of go see what's down there, the Gold Nugget, but they've enclosed it in, and they've got the zip line going across the top canopy. It's just a different experience. It's a fun experience, but I had a great time down there. The old strip is a lot of fun.
It is. There's an area called the Container Park there, which is outdoor shopping malls and it's an entertainment complex. And it's also lots and lots of food, lots of food trucks. So it's a really, really unique area and something that you should do, and just a totally different feel from what you consider the regular strip to be. So make sure you make it to the old strip and go to all these areas. There's an activity that's outside the city called the Rise Festival, which is the largest lantern release. This sounds just magical. About 25 miles outside the city, they're simultaneously released in the desert. So if you want something really, really special with a breathtaking view, definitely try that.
There's also you could do actually an aerial fitness class with Cirque du Soleil performers at Shine Alternative Fitness, and that actually sounds really cool. You're probably working with the silks or something like that and ropes, but that actually sounds like a great experience, to go see some of these guys give you a class. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then also something that's off the beaten track, and actually Jaymes mentioned this as well, is Chinatown, which you don't think Las Vegas that it has a Chinatown like San Francisco or DC, but it does. And really, really great food. So if you want something authentic and local, definitely hit Chinatown.
And here's another one. If you do have the need for speed, exotic racing. It's the world's largest supercar driving experience. So you could definitely go as fast as you want by choosing from 50 exotic cars, and you just put them to the test on the fastest track. So, and you could drive with racing professionals, but it just seems like it would be pretty cool to do. If you like that speed, if you're one of those speed demons, you got to check it out.
Yeah. I mean, we've done so many things over the years in Vegas. There's so much to do. There's a neon museum dedicated to the old neon signs and marquees. Great for personal photo shots and ego bait there. So if you something that you really want to get that old feel of Vegas, the Neon Museum is a great place. You can also rent it out as well for private functions as well. So those are some of our top.
And I do have to add one, because we did do a program once, and we ended up at the Stratosphere. And at the top of the Stratosphere is obviously, if you haven't, I'm sure everybody's seen it from the Strip, but to go up there and do those rides that are on the very top of the Stratosphere, if you have any kind of vertigo, fear of heights or anything like that, it is not for you.
Get over it.
If you want to challenge those fears, go up. There's a little roller coaster. There's the drop thing that takes you up and then just drops you real quick. But when you're up top, the views of the Strip are just absolutely amazing. And if you do kind of get that nerve to go on one of those rides, just go do it. It's definitely be something that you'll remember forever.
Yeah. Now I know we're going to be back from Vegas on Destination Everywhere, because there's always so much to do. We love it. It's a great place to take clients. It's a great place to take your family. So definitely put it on your bucket list.
Without a doubt. So, that said, this concludes our episode of Las Vegas. We definitely want to thank Jaymes for his insight. And, we're really looking forward to getting back and seeing what, Vegas is changing endlessly. Every time I go, it's a little different. So if we've talked about something on this, I'm sure probably in a week or two, there's going to be a different show, a different club, a different restaurant, but it's definitely a nonstop, evolving, wonderful 24-hour experience. So get out there. I'd like to thank our team. I'd like to thank Chris Jordan, who is our copywriter, Guy Quattlebaum, our content developer, Andy Fernandez, creative director, and of course, the amazing Lauren Campbell, our podcast producer. So make sure you subscribe, rate, and review the show on your preferred podcast app, or by going to www.destination-everywhere.com. And we look forward to speaking with you on the next episode of Destination Everywhere.
You've just tuned in to another episode of Destination Everywhere with travel and hospitality entrepreneurs Todd Bludworth and Andy McNeill. To access the show notes and other helpful resources, visit destination-everywhere.com. Join us again next week for another bucket list filled show as we feature another travel-worthy destination. Until next time, travel well and be safe out there.